much conversation I feel like I get every week from my clients on this topic. What we're going to be talking about is hiring, which I know is one of the biggest frustrations. I would even go so far to say that managing people and finding the right people is potentially one of the hardest parts of being a business owner. And so that's what we're going to be covering here today. But before we get into the meat of it all, I would love to hear some wins of the week. Let's see here. All
And
right.
wins of the week is spelled W-E-E-K, not W-E-A-K. Just a side note there.
Are you making fun of me right now, Rudy?
No, I would not do that over here. That would be a one-on-one diss. I'm just I don't publicly make fun of people.
No. Okay, so I've got Gabe with Gabe's Electrical here. I think Gabe just popped on this call. So I put him here because I met with them earlier this week and I was just blown away by their revenue growth this past February compared to the February before last with the same amount of vans in the field. And so, Gabe, if you're willing to unmute and share, I'm going to call you out here. I would love for you to share your revenue growth from last February to this February.
Yeah, I didn't even know my picture was going to be up. That was a surprise. But yeah,
You're good looking.
Not bad for 40, right?
No.
Yeah, so we're by us adjusting our prices and putting systems in place and tracking our KPIs, having, systems like House Call Pro as our CRM system, all this stuff helped us elevate and bring us, to that next level, being that service provider. So, January and February, everybody, especially for service provider, those are your tougher months. And we actually, compared to last year, we were up like 10 grand, 7 grand from last year.
I think you guys were up 40 grand from last year. I think last February you did 29,000 and this February you guys did over 60.
Yeah. So we crushed it this month.
Yeah.
So yeah, and plus we moved. And the thing is once you build a good team, guys, and once you know your business, and once you have confidence, you're able to kind of move into some new areas that's still in your wheelhouse. And one of the reasons why I was able to crush it this month is we did a solar job. So we had the right team, both in the office and in the field to, execute something. It's still in our wheelhouse, but we wanted to, get into this side of the industry. So on top of the jobs we did, we threw in a solar job, and we just passed inspection this morning too. So the job's 100%. So
that's a win in itself.
Yeah. So it's not about how many people you have there. It's the quality of people you guys are bringing in to your team. So if you got to bring 8 players into your team, you got to be the example too, right? So that's another thing that I've been working on myself is that your team is going to be as good as the leader that's in there. So if you're a poor leader, you have to work on your leadership, because if you want A-type players in your team, you got to be an A-type player, and you have to lead by example. So I'm just super excited that we're moving in. A lot of things are happening. We'll talk to Nicole about our pricing system. By the way, Nicole, I just purchased it, and I got a meeting with him tomorrow. So I feel like we've been running on 3 wheels, like we're a race car on 3 wheels. And this pricing system has been that third part of the wheel. So, but yeah, I mean, that was all this accomplishment with a broken price system, guys. So I'm really excited. As a matter of fact, me and Audrey, we got butterflies. It's kind of a nervous feeling, like before you go on a date, like you don't know what's going to happen. But you're going to do your best. So I'm excited.
Well, we are so excited to see what this year has for you, Gabe. Congratulations. Last February to this February, $40,000 worth of revenue growth. And so very excited for you. And this is such a good win for the topic that we're going to be talking about today, which is hiring. Because like I said earlier, Gabe has the same amount of people this year as he did last year, and we're able to produce that much more money because of the systems and the accountability and the training that he's put in place. Any other quick wins before I get this show on the road here?
I got one.
Tell us.
All right. So this is Dwayne with the pink dumpster. And so I think it's a win for the whole Redmond group of how they helped direct our company over the years. And we are under contract to sell our business. And we should be closing on April 3rd. So anyhow,
Come on.
yeah, there you go. So we had a great team and worked with Jonathan, and I actually went up there and spent time with you guys before we even decided to sign up. So we were so pleased with everything that we've learned. We had growth every year implemented. So I guess my last comment is to make sure you listen to your coaches.
Hey.
We never put our business up for sale, and starting last December, within 60 days, we had 3 offers on our company. Yesterday, a guy contacted me and said, if your company does not close, I'm ready to buy. So
Wow.
we don't know what we're doing next, but we got 6 more business days, and then I guess I'll be pushing buggies at Walmart or something until I can figure something else out to do.
Spending more time on your boat is what you should be doing, Dwayne.
Yeah.
You've worked damn hard to get here. And Rudy, you're gonna pay him for him saying that our clients need to listen to us, right? You're gonna slip him that 100 that we talked about.
Begged me to say that. He's paying me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for everything. I appreciate it.
Oh, Dwayne, you're awesome.
Yeah,
we
Dwayne.
love having you here. Okay, so let's get going here. Let's talk about everybody's favorite or least favorite subject. Maybe it's your favorite to complain about, but let's talk about hiring. Not just are we going to talk about hiring, but we're going to talk about inspiring too. Kind of a little caveat that I just want to throw out here in the beginning. I am not about to go over our hiring system exactly, our Redmond Growth hiring system. If you need our Redmond Growth hiring system, please book a laser call with your coach, shoot us an email. We can email it over to you. We even have other group calls that go over the hiring system. But what I'm going to be focusing on here today is how to get the most amount of applicants, and then also how to get a hold of them, and then how to make them want to work for you. Because the reality of the situation is the market right now is very competitive when it comes to qualified employees, especially in construction industries. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. If you are completely brand new, don't know our hiring system at all, like I said, book a laser call with your coach, shoot us an email, we'll send it over to you. We'll give you other group calls to reference to it. But let's get going here. Okay, so let's talk about the reality of the situation. The current hiring climate. It's a little bit tough. I was going to open up the floor for some people to tell some stories, but I have a feeling if I do that, we're going to have probably take up the rest of the hour talking about disappointing stories, trying to hire people not showing up for interviews, people showing up late, So we all been there. We all know the struggles. Try to not let it defeat your faith in humanity. But let's talk about the reality. As of May 2022, there are over 400,000 job openings in the construction industry, with only 389,000 construction workers unemployed. That's a shortage of 50,000 workers, guys. That's the reality. And you can probably blame my generation here, but I think it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. We don't work with our hands as much as you guys do. In fact, my mom's husband was over at my house last weekend helping me do some stuff around my house, and he was pretty disappointed to find out I didn't even own a hammer. So probably can blame my generation for this, but there is a shortage. So that's the reality. We no longer can have this attitude of, well, if they want the job, they're going to call me. It's not going to happen. They probably got 7 other companies reaching out. You're in a shortage. We got to pursue these guys. Now, 68% of trade skill business owners struggle to hire skilled workers. Can I get a show of hands? Who has struggled to hire skilled workers? I see hands flying. Yes, it is a struggle. 35% of trade skilled businesses are understaffed. These are facts. This is from a study done by staffingindustry.com. These are credible sources. 81% of candidates lie in their interviews. This was a study done by Harvard Business Review. 81% of candidates lie in their interviews. 85% lie on their resumes. 85. This is why I don't want you spending a ton of time reading at resumes before calling somebody. Probably not fact on that resume anyways. You're wasting your time. And then 68% of American workforce is not engaged in their jobs. Why I threw this in here is because all of these statistics really, these 3 first bullet points are primarily the applicant's fault. They're lying in their interview, they're lying on their resume, that's on them. But if your employees are not engaged in their job, and it shows that 68% of American workforce is not engaged, a lot of that is responsible to the business owner. A lot of that is something that you can fix or that you should be trying to fix. And if the employee doesn't rise to the occasion, that's on them. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. We're going to talk about how to inspire and engage our employees. Okay, so what can I do to get more applicants? Who's been in this position where they're like, there's just nobody out there. I just can't find anybody. I'm trying real dang hard, doing everything I can. What can I do to get more applicants? The first thing that we can do is sponsor your job on Indeed. For high skilled positions, this should be default. These are your lead technicians, your lead carpenters, your project managers, people with licenses. You're going to have to sponsor your job on Indeed. If you don't know what Indeed is the best place to advertise your job on the internet. It tends to be the most popular. I'm not saying that you're going to post a job and immediately find somebody. I'm saying that it's the best place to look for people. And so if you don't know how to post a job on Indeed, like I said, reach out to your coach. We'll walk you through it. But that's the first thing here is you need to be willing to spend some money. This is the best investment you can make into your company is finding the right players. Gabe talked earlier in this call about how important the team is in building that team. And you see the revenue difference in his company because of that investment. You have to be willing to invest in your team. If you're not willing to spend money on Indeed, then don't expect to be able to get high quality applicants. You got to just determine, okay, I'm going to spend blank amount of money each month on my hiring, and I'm going to budget for it, and I'm going to be prepared for it. Don't be emotional about it. It's just the reality of the situation. Post jobs in multiple locations on Indeed. A lot of times what I see, a common mistake, is that people will just post one job in the town that they are physically located in. If it's a reasonable commute, then you need to be posting a job in the surrounding areas. If it's a reasonable commute, let's post a job there. We want to cast a very wide net. If you don't know how to do this, like I said, reach out to your coach. They'll walk you through it on Indeed. This is something that tends to be ignored. If I have anybody willing to admit, I know Bryce will admit this, that writing is not their favorite thing in the world. Coming up with something creative and coming up with something spiffy, not their favorite thing. Does anybody feel that way? Sitting down and writing a job description. I see Bryce smiling there. Attractive job description. The good news is that we do have templates. And so we have a template that you can follow. Your coach is even willing to sit there with you and kind of help formulate it together. But it needs to be an attractive job description. Nobody reads nowadays. A good thing to do is to focus on bullet points. Bullet points are more likely to be read. If you're like, hey, Nicole, I'm not going to get anybody because I don't have any benefits. I don't have a 401k. I don't have anything like that. What about a positive work environment, promotion opportunities? What about bonuses? What about these things that are benefits that we can highlight? Let's not be so fixated on traditional benefits that we ignore the benefits that we actually provide. You want to highlight that in your job description. One thing that Tim always says is that his good friend William Shakespeare once said that brevity is the soul of wit. You want to keep your job description pretty short and sweet. You know, a couple sentences is enough. It's all that you need. And then we want to get into those bullet points because those are going to be more likely to be read. Highlight opportunities for growth. That is one thing. And the younger generations tend to lean into this more. I would say that kind of the boomer generation, they just went to work because that's what you were supposed to do. You know, they went to work to go to work, and a lot of them would stay in the same job forever. These newer generations, we don't do that. Why? We have to feel inspired. We have to feel passionate. We have to know that there's opportunities for growth. And so you've got to highlight that in your job description. What are the opportunities that they have? Sign-on bonuses is a great way, especially for these higher skilled positions, to really get more applicants and to get them where they're pursuing your job more. People get very intimidated. Oh, go ahead, Bryce.
I don't know if you're about to cover this, Nicole, but if you see sign-on bonuses and you think, why am I going to give somebody just extra money? Well, reframe that to be retention bonuses. Use a sign-on bonus to encourage somebody to stay longer. You know, you get this paid out in increments as you stay for, 3 months, 6 months, a year. That's how that works. So don't just see sign-on bonuses and immediately write it off.
Yeah, exactly. I love that Bryce mentioned that. You're not just going to give them that $500 or $1,000 sign-on bonus at the day that they start. Doesn't work that way. We even have a client that they give a $5,000 sign-on bonus for their plumbing technicians that come on board. But that $5,000 is given to them throughout the course of a year. And if they leave or get fired within that year, they have to pay that money back. There's a lot of things that you can do with the sign-on bonus that is going to benefit you. And so, like Bryce said, don't feel intimidated by it. If you want to run it past your coach, we can definitely formulate something that's going to still be attractive to them, but not make you feel like you're taken advantage of. Post flyers in warehouses. The good news is we can design them for you. And so we love to do it. Post them in warehouses. I would also go to say, don't be scared to approach other technicians in the warehouse. It's not like we're high pressuring them, just saying, hey, by the way, my name's Gabe. I'm the owner of Gabe's Electrical. We're looking to hire a new electrician. Didn't know if you were looking for a new spot, but if you want, here's my business card. Reach out to me. It's not like we're trying to steal people from other companies. We're just being friendly. And so don't be scared to do this, to post flyers in warehouses, and then just also kind of get the word out to other people that you see, in your industry in those warehouses. Contact trade schools to send you their graduates. If you can get in with one of the professors or instructors over there and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how much my company has grown. I'm looking to build my team. Any, great students, anybody who you feel like has a lot of potential, I would really love it if you would send them my way. You can even post flyers at these schools as well. We want to cast a wide net. If you're like, Nicole, my business isn't growing because I can't find somebody, and you're just waiting for the phone to ring with applicants, your business is never going to grow. We've got to be willing to do some unique things. We've got to be willing to post flyers. We've got to be willing to have conversations. We've got to be willing to spend some money to get the right people in. And then last but not least, use our documented Redmond growth hiring system. If you need this, please email your coach, book a laser call with your coach. If your coach is available, you've got availability coach. And so we would love to walk you through it and get you implementing the hiring system. Okay, so I got a quote here by my dear friend Snoop Doggy Dogg. How should I pursue applicants? You need to drop it like it's hot. Okay, this is like your ideal. Like let's go back to high school, and you're going to prom, and your crush doesn't have a date yet. You're going to pursue that. You want to take her to prom with you. That is how we need to view these qualified applicants. Okay, we got to drop it like it's hot and we got to pursue them aggressively. Why? Because every other boy in your grade is going to be asking her too. And so you got to stand out. All right. And so we got to have that tenacious attitude. One thing, if you're my client and you really want to grind my gears and get me really upset, you'll tell me, oh, well, I just called them once. If they wanted the job, they'd call me back. Oh, I don't want to hear it. You got to pursue them. They've got 7 or more other companies pursuing them aggressively. You've got to be just as aggressive, if not more.
Yeah. Quick story here, if I can.
Yes.
So I don't know that he's here. He said he was going to be here this morning, but Derek Fannin with LHS, Local Home Services, literally just went through this. He went on vacation for a week and we talked about, hey man, if you get applicants, still call them because you don't want to lose those guys. And he said, okay, yeah. He got his Indeed post up, got a couple of applicants, found a guy that was pretty much picture perfect of what exactly he wanted. Didn't call him until he came back. The guy had already gotten the job. Because the best candidates are being called by other people. You got to get on them as soon as you see them. As soon as you see them, treat them like a lead.
Which is why call immediately. I would even go to say treat them better than a lead. Why? This is going to generate so much money for you. And so we've got to get the right people in. So call immediately. You cannot afford to play hard to get. Maybe you've been in business for a long time and there was a time where you could play hard to get. You know, if they wanted the job, they had to pursue you. Unfortunately, that's not the market anymore. Now, I'm not saying that we want to hire just anybody and everybody. That is not what I'm saying. If they are a bad fit, if they're showing up late, if they're laissez-faire on the phone with you, or, if they're, it doesn't mean that we want to just hire anybody, but it does mean that we need to be aggressive when those qualified applicants come in. We need to do whatever we can to get a hold of them. What does that look like? That looks like using all forms of communication. Okay. We need to text them. We need to message them. If they apply through Indeed, you can message them there. If you have their email, you need to email them. You need to call them. You need to leave a voicemail. A lot of these guys might still be employed. So if you call them in the middle of the day, they might not be able to answer the phone. A lot of people don't answer numbers they don't know. That's why we need to text them. We also need to email them. We need to message them. And we can't just do this once. You need to do this for at least 3 days. And I was going to put 5 here, but I thought that was a little aggressive. But at least bare minimum 3 days, you need to be pursuing these applicants as soon as they come in. Call, text, email, voicemail.
Josh just said in the chat that it took him 3 months of chasing to get the best guy that he has right now. Not 3 days, 3 months. That's dedication.
Yes. And I cannot remember, and if one of the coaches does, but I feel like on that poster that we have of sales stats, there's research done that it typically takes reaching out to somebody 6 times before having a meaningful conversation. 6 times. That's a lot. And sometimes it takes more than that. And so do it at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. Reach out to them. You're not badgering them. The last communication you had from them is that they wanted to work for you. So it is your job to reach out to them and to get a hold of them. And so call, text, email, leave voicemails, be aggressive about it. Do this for at least 3 days. Or you can do like what the example Bryce just gave. Keep a list or a file of these desirable applicants. And whenever you're getting real desperate to hire, call through them. People are always wanting to see if the grass is greener on the other side. Let's be tenacious about it.
Now, Nicole, if I had to chase somebody down this hard, are they going to be a good employee for me? I'm teeing you up for a question here.
Yes.
Does anybody have that question? I guess that's a better way to ask. Does anybody have that thought? Hey, if I'm having to chase people down or if I'm having to pursue them like a lead, are they just going to be a bum that I'm going to fire in a couple of weeks? Anybody have that question?
I see in his head, so I feel like he may feel this way. I don't know if Dale with Arnold's Plumbing is on this call, but I know that he feels that way. That's something that him and I have had to talk about quite a bit. And like I said earlier, if you get them on the phone and they are acting like they are just the coolest thing since sliced bread and they're already wanting to talk about, the promotion opportunities or pay and stuff, get them out of our lives. We don't want them. Okay. But a lot of times why they're not getting back to you is because they have so many other companies reaching out. It's not their personality flaw, okay? It is because they have so many companies reaching out to them. They have so much opportunity and people are perpetually distracted. And so don't take it personally if somebody's having a hard time getting back to you. It's just that they've got a lot of other people reaching out. However, when you go to interview them, you want to interview them with the same criteria. If they show up to the interview late, if they don't have the qualifications that you're looking for, let's be intentional about weeding those people out quickly.
I'll throw in a quick 2 cents here because I feel like I need to. Just because I like to talk sometimes. No, the real thing here is I see this happen a lot, is that someone will be really quick to make assumptions with applicants, maybe haven't even talked to them, and you see something on their resume that's a little questionable, or hey, it looks like they stopped working for 3 months. I don't want someone who's doing nothing with their lives for 3 months, right? Or hey, I talked to them and they said this weird thing in the interview, so I kind of just left it at that. I don't think I'm going to talk to them again. Well, here's what I default to is don't make assumptions about, let it be a red flag if it's a true red flag, but just address it. Ask them if you have concerns about something on their resume. It's okay to say, hey, I saw this, it looks like you had stopped working for a little bit, could you tell me what happened there? It could be a legitimate, very, very good reason. In fact, you're surprised it didn't take off longer. And just with experience, with everything, it looks like they don't have the experience. Well, just ask them. If you're going to talk to them anyway, go ahead and always address it. Stop assuming. There's way too much assuming going on with applicants.
Absolutely. Get out of those resumes, get out of those assumptions, get the candidate on the dang phone, and then start making assumptions from there. Okay. And so really appreciate, Rudy, you mentioning that. So we've got the applicants now. The applicants are coming in because we're doing everything that we just talked about. So how do I inspire them to work here when there's so many other companies that want them? Maybe there's companies that are paying their guys more, they have more benefits. I hear that all the time. Nicole, I'm never going to be able to hire somebody unless I'm able to offer the benefits that the big guys can offer. Again, assumptions, get them out of here. How do I inspire them to work here? You need to sell the vision. Just like when you are selling a job, especially like I want to think about our remodelers here. When you're selling a job, you are selling the vision. You are talking about what it's going to look like, what it's going to do for them, what their lives are going to look like after they get this done. You're getting them emotional, getting them excited. You need to sell the vision. A good way to do this, where the business started versus where it is now. We talked about Gabe's Electrical in the beginning of this call. That is something I would share with my team is, hey, this is where we were a couple of years ago. This is where we are now with the same team. Also, I pay my guys with commissions. And so think of how much more that guy is making this year compared to last year. Sell the vision of the company. Show them where you've been versus where you are now, and then where you are headed. What is the goal for the company? The goal is, hey, once we hit this revenue goal, what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to add a 401k matching, You want to do the goal for the company. You want to share that with them. Be very vocal about where you want the company to go. And not just that, we don't want them to think that we're just, blowing smoke, but what we are currently doing to get to that goal. We want to make it very tangible to them. We want to talk about promotion opportunities, how they could move up in the company, meaning, maybe they can be a lead technician or a project manager or in charge of a crew, or maybe they start as a helper and then they end up in their own van. How could they move up in the company? How could they make more money? Google review bonuses, merit-based pay structures, bonuses in general, commissions. How could they make more money? Not just even promotions, but what are opportunities literally that they could do today to get themselves making more money? Bonus systems. If you don't have one in place, if you're system, talk to your coach. We need to get you on one that's going to motivate your team. It's going to, for A players, it's going to excite them knowing that they're not handicapped into this one amount, that they have the opportunity to make more money. Highlight the company culture. Okay. What that means is, hey, if you do any team building activities, Arnold's Plumbing is a great example of this. Once a year, he takes his entire team and their families camping and on a float trip. That's pretty damn fun. Okay. That's something I would highlight. He also does dinners very often. He has a warehouse. He'll grill out for them on a random Tuesday, have everybody come in for lunch and he's grilling hot dogs. Any team building activities, even if it's small. Hey, on Fridays, we have a team meeting and I bring in coffee and donuts and we chit chat for the first 30 minutes. And then we kind of talk about how the week went. That's something that a lot of other companies don't do. Let's highlight it. Let's also highlight the attitudes and the environment that may be different than most corporate businesses. Who here before starting their own company worked for a company in your industry? Worked for somebody and then decided to branch out. I think that's probably 90% of you. I see hands going up. The toxic environment that these other companies have, okay? Highlight what makes your company different. Hey, if you have a family emergency, we are going to respect that. Like, we're going to let you, go handle that as long as you have good communication with us on what's going on and when you'll be back. Like, we're not going to hold those types of things against you. We have a very positive environment around here. We're more focused on the service that we provide compared to just gouging people for money. Those types of things. We want to share that with them. What makes us different? And then do not neglect this. Get to know their goals and reference to how this job will help them get there. So I started here at Redmond Growth almost 5 years ago. And then a year into Redmond Growth, I was buying my first house. That's something I had shared with Tim and Robert, something I told them that I wanted to do. In my first year at Redmond Growth, I also wanted to be making more money than my sister. I come from a competitive household, okay? And so that's something I made my boss aware of, is like, hey, this is how much she's making. When she was my age, I want to make more than her, okay? Within my first couple of years, I was, and he was letting me know that, hey, and he was checking in with me of, hey,
Come
are we there yet?
on.
Are we there yet? Get to know their goals and then reference to how this job is going to be helping them, and then check in with them. Hey, I know one thing is you really wanted to get out of your school debt. How close are we to that? With these bonuses that you're getting, are you able to knock out, some of that debt? Reference to that. Get to know their goals. Let them know how they're going to be able to get there. Also, maybe it's a helper who wants his own license in a van. Let's get them on the pathway to do that. If they want to be running their own truck, let's tell them the pathway to get there and then hold them accountable to it. Be checking in with them. Same thing if they want to become a crew leader or a project manager. Send them on that pathway. Check in with them on that. And then any employee testimonials, let's make sure we're sharing them. Hey, my guy Adrian, when he first started with us, he was making blank, and now a year in, he's making blank. Let's make it tangible to them. It's not puffery. This is real. This can happen for you. Okay, so I'm going to close out this meeting here so that we can get into the breakout rooms. But before I do that, what I wanted to share this quote. And it's at this stage, I am convinced that nothing we do is more important than hiring and developing people. At the end of the day, you bet on people and just not on strategies. Who here has been in the position where the business is built around them? They're the number one employee. They're the one running the show. They're the one doing everything. If you do not build the right team, the right systems, you will always be in that position. You will always be there, and your business will be bottlenecked, and it'll be handicapped, and it will be limited on the growth that it can receive. And so I want to take hiring away from being a frustrating thing. Yes, there are frustrating aspects to it, but we need to accept that. But we need to embrace hiring as one of the most, if not the most necessary aspects of your business. We need to have a positive attitude about it, and we need to be aggressive in our strategies when it comes to hiring. So I want to talk about casualness, something Tim Redmond says all the time. The whole principle behind this talk today is we cannot be casual with our hiring process. At no stage can we be casual in our process of hiring or inspiring our team. This is something that maybe is easy to neglect as a business owner because you're thinking about the million other things that you need to be doing, but we can't be casual about it. We've got to be aggressive with it. And so let's get into our breakout rooms here so we can get down to the nitty gritty and we can start making some progress here today on our hiring system.